especially a special hello to the legendary Legion, to whom this video is devoted. We are going to be playing D&D on the channel in the next couple of days, and some of them have never played before, have no idea what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to give them a quick tutorial on Roll20 on how to create a character and stuff like that. So that's what this video is for. So please enjoy and come back and watch our streams, and later on I'll have the streams edited and posted for YouTube. So come back and watch those too. Alright, so let's just jump right into it. I am already on Roll20, as you will see here. There we go. Hooray. I am creating 3 different characters, all within the 3 main styles in this episode. The 3 main styles of characters are Primal, which are your barbarians, your druids, and your rangers. Martial, which are like your fighters, your monks, to some extent your paladins, and then the arcane, which are wizards, warlocks, sorcerers, and bards. So I'm going to be making a human barbarian, a dwarf fighter, and a half-elf wizard in this episode. So I already have Torm, our human barbarian, getting ready. So what you'll want to do is, if you don't have a character already, request one. I will get one as soon as I can to you. All I have to do is click this button right here and assign it to you on the game, and then you'll come in here. You'll click on it. You'll come in here and it'll say, do you want to use, or how do you want to create this character? You want to use the Charactermancer. Welcome to the Charactermancer, and then it's a step-by-step process that helps you create your character. So it's really only the main game, or only the main content of the game, which is what we want to play. We're wanting to generally be, within the base game, which there are a couple of players that have already played before that have characters set up for this, but for newer players, I definitely recommend only doing like the basic character for their first time. So let's do that. Next, choose a race. So here you go. I'm waiting for it to load in. Here are several things that you can kind of read through here. If you want to, not a lot really matters. I mean, it's just kind of a general like description of what the races are in D&D. But we're gonna go with a human first. Humans are the most prevalent race in D&D. I didn't say they were the best. I said they were the prevalent, which means there are more of them than any other kind. He's going to be a chaotic good barbarian. There we go. Chaotic good. Again, here's some human information right here. Human traits, ability score increases by 1. Humans reach adulthood in their late teens and live less than a century in most cases. You gain 1 extra language besides common. And they say here, they range from barely 5 feet to well over 6 feet tall. Once you reach 7 feet, you kind of become large in D&D, which makes sense. So let's go ahead and keep moving on. Choose a class. Wait for it to load in. Barbarians. They are what they sound like. If you're familiar with Conan the Barbarian, the most iconic fantasy barbarian in existence, then you know that he is very good at fighting. Does not wear much in the way of armor, which historically speaking is both accurate and inaccurate. But in fantasy, most of the time barbarians don't wear armor, and D&D is not, different in that. So barbarians get different ways of defending themselves than just the basic like external armor. At level 1, you will get 12 plus your Constitution modifier and hit points, which we'll get into that shortly. You do have proficiency with armor, meaning you can wear it. It just, doesn't help all that much sometimes. Light armor, medium armor, and shields. Weapons, simple weapons, and martial weapons. So simple weapons are like long swords, hand axes, things like that. Martial weapons are more like two-handed weapons, and stuff like that. So saving throws. This is one of the most important things in D&D. You have what are known as saving throws. Whenever a spell or some sort of effect hits you, you roll a saving throw to see if it actually affects you or damages you. And you get strength and constitution there as a barbarian. You choose 2 from this list of skills, and then you can start with these here, with these equipment. So what we'll do is we'll go step by step here. So let's go ahead and choose our skill proficiencies. I'm kind of inspiring Torm a little bit on Conan. So we will go with, let's say, athletics and intimidation, because he definitely had both of those. Okay, so next. Ability score method. Now this is very important. This is the foundation of your character. You want to go into custom. Okay? I don't know why whenever I choose earlier, I was building another character for another game, and I chose choose, and it didn't give me an option to choose anything. So I was just very confused. I didn't know what to do there. So I went into custom, and you can now build your character the way you want them. And the way we're going to do them in this game is we're going to do the rolling method. And what that means is you go in here, or if you have them on hand, dice. You have 4 6-sided dice to roll here. Or go into Roll20, /R, 4d6. There you go. And, oh gosh. So that's a very appropriate roll for me to say this. Because you also drop the lowest. Now, in my games, normally, I let you re-roll 1s and 2s once. So in this case, we get to roll 3 of our rolls. I'm probably going to end up keeping that 6. So let's go ahead and do those 3 again. 3d6. Okay. Okay, so we keep all 3 of those. So that is, down here, you see my mouse? 6, 6, 5. That's a 17. That is a solid starting roll, and I'm going to be putting that in my constitution. So now we do it again. We do this a total of 6 times to get all of the ability scores rolled. Ew. Why did I roll 3? I want to roll. We're only going to roll 1 more. 1d. Man, I am not paying attention, I guess. 1d6. Should have taken some intense focus. Man, yeah, it's whenever I'm filming this, it's like 9:30 at night. So, I'd actually want to sleep tonight so I can be ready for you guys tomorrow. So we have a 6, a 3, and a 3. That's a total of 12. So I'm going to put the 12 in his charisma. An 18. Oh, that's going in his strength. Don't mind if I yes. All right. That's not very common. All right. That's awesome. All right. Another 4d6. Reroll. The reason that I didn't reroll that last one is because there's no way of getting a higher roll in D&D. So if you roll 4d6 and you're dropping the lowest one and you get 3 6s, you have an 18. But in this case, I need to roll 2 more. So that's a 14. Let's see here. 14 is not a bad dexterity score. Once we get done with these, I will kind of go through and show you guys what each ability affects. I'll only kind of go through it with the barbarian, or with this character. That way you can kind of see what means what in D&D terms. And roll 4d6 again. I need to do 2 more. Ouchies. Okay, so that's a 10 so far. Okay, so that's another 14. I'm going to put that in his wisdom. Man, this is decent barbarian. Okay. And then do the last one. Roll 4d6. That is a 16, right? No, 17. Another 17. Okay, I'm going to switch this. I'm going to put the dexterity of 17, keep the wisdom where it is, and put that also, that other 14 in intelligence. Okay. So, let's go through and show you guys what exactly ability scores do here. So, like I said, abilities are the foundation of your character. There we go. Strength measures physical power. Dexterity measures your agility and your ability to do damage with ranged weapons. It adds damage. It adds points. Same with strength to melee weapons, to weapons up close. Constitution measures your endurance. Tells you how many hit points you have, or it gives you bonus to your hit points. Intelligence, measuring reasoning and memory. It also helps with skills sometimes. Wisdom is one of the more common spell rolls that you roll either to deal damage or to resist damage. In other versions, it's called a will save. And then charisma, measuring your force of personality. How bright does your character look? How alluring, in some cases, do they look? Things like that. So each of these roles, or each of these abilities, has a score that is this right here. This is your score. You will also get something known as a modifier. So, for instance, you can see here are the numbers for the modifiers. The highest one we will have is a strength modifier of +4. Okay. So this is a very strong barbarian character. We're going to move on to his background. The background is like what it sounds like. Your character. Where did they come from? What do they do? Why are they where they are? What made them what made them the way they are. So each background gives a character proficiency in 2 skills. In addition, most backgrounds give a character proficiency with 1 or more tools detailed in the equipment. Some give you languages, and then they also give you suggested characteristics of your character. What does the Marine do? Let me look at the Marine. So yeah, we're going back to class. I'm going to pick, instead of athletics, I'm going to pick perception. That way, the background covers this. So we are going to build him as a Marine. Alright, steady. You can move twice the normal amount of time, up to 16 hours each day before being subject to the effect of a forced march. Huh. Okay. Automatically find a safe route to land a boat on shore, provided such a route exists. Alright. So... hardship. What would be a good one here? I'm going to do the closest we can to Conan. He did a lot of stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and do captured. Personality traits. Speak rarely, but I mean every word I say. I laugh loudly and see the humor in stressful situations. I prefer to solve problems without violence, but I finish fights decisively. No. I speak rarely, but mean every word I say. Now, feel free if you guys decide you're going to play Torm, or whoever decides to get this character, you can certainly change up whatever you want to do with any of these characters that I build. They become your characters once they leave. Once they leave my possession. Yeah, and then I choose another one. And then I laugh loudly and see. Yep, there you go. Much like Conan, both of those. And ideal. Teamwork, definitely not. Code. Let's do bravery. To act when others quake in fear. This is the essence of the warrior.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Bond. I face danger and evil to offset an unredeemable act in my past. I will finish the job. I like that one. I must set an example of hope. No, thank you. Fear leads to tyranny, and both must be eradicated. I'm searching for a fellow Marine captured by an elusive enemy. My commander betrayed my unit, and I will have my revenge. I will finish the job, at all costs. Flaw. I grow combative and unpredictable when I drink. My intensity can drive others away. I find civilian life difficult and struggle to say the right thing in social situations. I hold grudges and have difficulty forgiving others. I become irrational when innocent people are hurt. I sometimes stay up all night listening to the ghosts of my fallen enemies. I like that one. So in the other game, see, you roll here, you can just randomize all of these. But I don't generally like doing that. I like to have more of a, personal touch with my characters. But certainly feel free to change anything, like I said. Now, next we do the equipment. How would you like to choose your equipment? Class equipment. Boom. Any martial weapon. Let's go with a long sword and a hand axe. Here is kind of like the way that equipment works here. So, you don't have to know much about it. This is important down here at the very bottom. The exchange rates of copper and silver. Electrum is very rare. Gold and platinum. Gold is the most common, oddly, and then platinum is probably the rarest. And now then move on to spells, which he is a barbarian. He doesn't have spells. The arcane is a mystery to you. Feats. Yeah. You really haven't done that much yet. So we're not doing feats in the game at the moment. Normally you get a feat or an ability score modifier, or an ability score change, like a bonus to your ability score modifier every 4th level. So, woo. Your bio. I'm not going to worry about that. Y'all can deal with that later. Whoever decides to play him. Oh, I need to choose a subrace and get my other language. I'm going to be a standard human subrace. Actually, let's do orcish for the... I'll do orc. And subrace standard human. View. Dang. He just got super powered. Apply changes, building your character. And again, depending on if somebody takes this character, we will determine whether or not they're like male, female, whatever have you. I have an abundance of pictures to pick from. We didn't choose an armor for them, but they have the possibility to wear it. My gosh, he has 3 4s. Dang, he is a monster. But I'm okay with this. So the great thing about playing a barbarian is you get something called rage. Rage boosts a lot for you. It basically gives you a bonus to hit, a bonus to strength, and some more hit points. Now, the downside to that is sometimes you don't recognize friend from foe. So your rage will make you blind to your friends, and you may accidentally hit them. So that's a warning to go ahead and give you that. You also are unable to do any skills or things like that whenever you're in rage, or at least have what's known as disadvantage, where you roll 2d20 and you take the lower of the 2 rolls. as opposed to having advantage where you roll 2d20 and take the higher of two rolls to determine any actions in the game. Torm is built. Let's move on to the dwarf. Let's name him Kagan. So he is going to be a dwarf from the Saltmarsh region. So he will definitely have some background from being here. Just go ahead and pick dwarf. Alignment, he will be lawful good, because dwarves tend to be more on the lawful side of things. Lawful good, lawful neutral, lawful evil. They are very stubborn and strong coded. Like they're very duty oriented. Be lawful good. Weapon proficiencies: battle axe, hand axe, light hammer, warhammer. Tool proficiencies. Let's see here. I will give him mason's tools. Stone cunning. So this is one of the important things about dwarves. Dwarves have the ability to just know what kind of stone is where it came from, its qualities, how hard it is, how soft it is, such like that. You basically get a history check. So you roll a d20, and you double your proficiency bonus to the check instead of your normal proficiency bonus. So instead of getting your +2, you would get a +4 to that roll. Dwarven resilience. You have advantage on saving throws against poison, and you have resistance against poison damage. You also have dark vision, because you are accustomed to life underground. Therefore, you can see in the dark better than anyone else that above ground could. So let's see here. Let's do Hilldwarf. Wisdom +1. Your hit point maximum increases 1. Okay. Now we're going to do a Hilldwarf fighter. So I'm going to go ahead and say history and insight. Insight is a roll that you would make to see if you determine that you can trust someone. So if you're interacting with someone and you feel like they may be lying to you, you can say, "Hey, I'd like to roll an insight against what they're asking or once they're telling me." Then I would say, "Okay, roll me an insight." The result of the roll, I would tell you what you would know. I'm going to go with protection as his fighting style. When a creature you can see attacks a target other than you that is within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on that attack roll. You must be wielding a shield. So that's something else to keep in mind whenever I am giving him his equipment, is he needs to have a shield. Not a problem. Alright, let's do the custom thing again. 4d6. That is a 17. Ooh, that is a good roll to start with. For a dwarf fighter, what is his two main things? Suggested abilities to focus on strength or dexterity, constitution, or intelligence. But let's see what his saves are officially in the game. Hit points, he gets 10 plus con mod, because of his hit die is a d10. Strength and constitution. So the same as the barbarian. So that is a 17. I'm going to put that 17 starting in constitution, which will put that up to a 19, I think. Right? Yep. So he'll have a +4 con so far. I may end up moving it to strength, depending on the other rolls. Reroll those 2 and the 1. Okay, so we have a 5, a 4, and a 6. That is let's see, it's a 15. I'm going to put that in strength for now. I may change that later. Reroll the 2 and the 1. I have another 15, which I will put in dexterity. A 13. That one I will put in charisma. That's another 15. I will put that in wisdom. Actually, no, intelligence. And then the last roll. That's an 18. I'm going to do something very silly here. I'm going to put this 18 in Constitution, and you'll see what happens there. Boom. And I'm going to put the 17 in Strength up here, and then another 15 in Wisdom. For that last 15 in Wisdom. So, what that does brings his constitution up to a 20. This guy may be as tough as Torm, as our barbarian, because of his constitution score. He will have a +5, as you see here. He has a 16. He has 16 hit points. I think Torm had 15. So his background is he is going to be a smuggler, athletics and deception, accomplishment. Actually, we're going to go with the recruit and make him not from Saltmarsh. I love gold but won't cheat a friend. Lawful good. Yeah. It's funny because he's a lawful good smuggler. Now, you're like, why would a lawful good smuggler even exist? Well, that's a good question. You have to think about that. Depends on his code. Something to consider. I enjoy doing other things other people believe to be impossible. I like that. Ideal. Let me go down here. Aha! Smuggler's Code. Yep. I uphold the unwritten rules of the smugglers who do not cheat one another or directly harm innocents. Lawful. Or, I smuggle only to achieve a greater goal that benefits my community. I kind of like that one for him. Bond. I owe a debt that cannot be repaid in gold. Basically, I'm going to have him be wanted by somebody in another nation. Flaw. I struggle to trust the words of others based on what happened in the past. Equipment. Man, that looks so good. I love it. Alright. Equipment. Class equipment. So, I would say let's go with chainmail. He's not much for bows. I would say let's go with the shield. And then 2 of shield or any martial weapon. 2 hand axes. And he will have an explorer's pack. He'll have a fancy leather vest. Hope they don't make me choose another thing. The arcane is a mystery to this character at the moment. Feats, he has not done very much to earn this thing. Again, the bio I will deal with later. Next, review. Apply changes. Building your character. Yay, Keegan has been built. Or Keegan has been built. Awesome. Now, let's do one more character. Let's name our half-elf wizard Lyra. Choose a race. Doing a half-elf. Half-elf. I get to choose 2 races, or 2 abilities, to improve, besides my charisma of a +2. Each one of these will get a +1. He's going to be a wizard, and intelligence is what wizards base their spells on. I don't think I can choose intelligence twice. I cannot. So I'm going to do dexterity. Intelligence and dexterity. Alignment, I'm going to have her as neutral good. Neutral good is my alignment in real life. So, skill proficiencies. So many skills. I'm going to choose 2 here. So, for this one, I'm going to go with Arcana, which is magic. It's history of magic. It's spell casting, like knowing what kind of spells are being cast, knowing about them, things like that. Let's go with investigation. Common and Elvish. I'm going to have her know Dwarvish as well. Class, she's a wizard. So with her, wizards are proficient mostly in magic, as of course you would expect. So they don't get many in the ways of traditional weapons. So like here, you only get a dagger, a dart, sling, quarterstaff, light crossbow. Proficiencies. That all makes sense to me. Skill proficiencies. Let's see here. Give her insight and history. Yeah, I'm gonna have her as be an acolyte, so we may change that. Now, here's where it gets to be very important whenever we come to play wizards and other spellcasters. So cantrips are basically free spells to some extent. Meaning that you can cast them however many you want. Once you reach like 2nd level, 3rd level, and beyond, you get leveled spells that you only have a certain number to cast. But cantrips, you can cast freely all day during your turn. I say that, you can only cast, you only have one action to do. But cantrips don't cost anything to cast. First level, you know 3 cantrips of your choice from the wizard spell list. You learn additional wizard cantrips of your choice at higher levels, as shown in the cantrips known column of the wizard table. We'll get to that whenever we get into spells. You also have a spell book containing 6 first level wizard spells of your choice. Your spellbook is the repository of wizard spells you know except your cantrips, which are fixed in your mind, which is really cool. Ritual casting. You can cast a wizard spell as a ritual if that spell has the ritual tag and you have the spell in your spellbook. You don't need to have the spell prepared. So, a lot of times you can cast certain spells and you might not have to pay, your first level spell that way if you do a ritual. Arcane Recovery. You have learned to regain some of your magical energy by studying your spellbook. Once per day when you finish a short rest, you can choose expended spell slots to recover. So you basically can take a rest and you can recover a spell slot or 2 as long as they are combined level that is equal to or less than half your wizard level rounded up. So in this case, you would just get 1 because we are all level 1. Equipment, spellbook, and a quarterstaff or a dagger, and a component pouch. A lot of spells have components. Normally, I don't worry too much about that because it becomes very costly and stuff. It's all built into the game, but it can also weigh the game down and slow it down to some extent. So I usually don't worry about that. So I generally always recommend everyone that is an arcane spellcaster to take an arcane focus. And I'm going to give them a scholars pack whenever we get to it. Alright, next. Custom. That's not an 18. That is a 15. Which that is a solid intelligence score to start with. I will probably be moving that based on how well I've been rolling in this tonight. I need to roll the other 2. So we have a 5, a 4, and a 3. So 5, 9, 12. I'm going to put that in strength because wizards don't generally need strength. That's another thing is you have what's commonly known as a dump stat, which is kind of like your, character's like worst ability. The barbarian, the fighter, arguably charisma would be their dump stat, especially the barbarian. It's not necessarily true all the time. I'm not a big fan of the dump stat idea, but a lot of players are. Oh my gosh. Awful roll. That's better. That's a 16. Okay. I'm gonna move that to and let's put the 15 in dexterity. 3 more. 3d6. That's a little bit better. Okay, so 6, 5, 4, 15. Let's put that in Constitution because wizards are what are commonly known as glass cannons. They hit really hard, but they can't take a hit. So that's why they're called glass cannons. That's a 13. That's a good charisma score. Okay, that's another 13. Put that in wisdom and you're good to go. Backgrounds. So what I meant by glass cannon, let me show you this up here. So these are, well, that's in the class. We'll go back over here to here. And I'll show you. 1d6. So right now, this character has 8 hit points. In a lot of situations, one good hit will drop this character. That's not to say that it kills the character outright, because it's very difficult to kill characters outright in D&D, at least 5th edition. In previous iterations of the game, no, you would die very easily with 8 hit points. So, yeah, Now we've already done the ability, so let's jump to background. We're going to do Acolyte, Insight and Religion, which I think they already have Insight, don't they? Oh, they get another language. Let's give them Draconic, which language, most cases, Draconic is the spell, or is the language of spells. It is the magic language, the language of dragons. Just for the heck of it, give them Sylvan, the language of nature and trees. Shelter of the Faithful. As an acolyte, you command the respect of those who share your faith. Blah, blah, blah. Personality of Faith. I like this one. I can find common ground between the fiercest enemies, empathizing with them, and always working towards peace. And then I also liked the one that was right below it. I see omens in every event and action. The gods try to speak to us. We just need to listen. It's a good one. Ideal. Aspiration. I seek to prove myself worthy of my God's favor by matching my actions against his or her teachings. Bond. I will someday get revenge on the temple hierarchy who branded me a heretic. Yeah, we'll do that one. And then a flaw. Once I pick a goal, I become obsessed with it to the detriment of everything else in my life. I like that. Hooray. How would you like to choose your equipment? We do it based on class equipment. I'm going to choose the Dagger, Arcane Focus, and Scholar's Pack. Prayer Book or Prayer Wheel. Let's do a Prayer Book. Here we go. Here's the most difficult thing in playing a spellcaster: picking the spells. So if you're wanting to play, a spellcaster, that the main thing that they do is cast magic, then I would recommend going in and studying this. Especially if you're going to play this character. I will certainly be available to help, but I'm not going to cover all of that fully right now. I'm just wanting to get the character built for you guys so you can kind of see how to do it. Wizard cantrips. So for these, I always choose Mage Hand. It allows you to basically carry a small item or move it. It's a spectral floating hand that you can kind of launch at something. It doesn't really punch anything or anything like that. It's purely utilitarian. And then I also really am a fan of, where is it? Firebolt. Firebolt is an amazing little spell that you can do. It does a D10 worth of damage to it. And let's also go with message. You can send a small or a short message to someone in range, 120 feet. You can basically say, hey, they're over there, that to somebody if they're within 120 feet of you. Something along those lines. Now, the ones that will cost something, that are a little bit more powerful, let's do these. Is Magic Missile here. Magic Missile. It is one of the most iconic spells in all of D&D. Whenever you see people throwing like multiple tennis balls at each other, they're casting Magic Missile in most cases. Like in LARP videos, yeah. Feather Fall's not a bad idea. Basically, it allows you to mitigate falling damage. Identify, it allows you to identify magic items or types of magic in the area. Is Mage Armor here? Mage Armor right there, yes. Mage Armor gives you a little bit of a boost to your armor class, so you're harder to hit. So the target's AC becomes 13 plus its dexterity modifier. So if your armor class is low, like you're not wearing any armor, there you go. Also, another one to take that's very good is Shield. Basically, you cast it which you take when you are hit by an attack or targeted by the Magic Missile spell. You basically just deflect all of the missiles, and they don't do any damage to you. Later on, that starts affecting other spells. So that's a very good spell. Now, let's see. What else would be good to have here? Unseen Servant. Let's do that one. Unseen Servant, similar to the Mage Hand, but literally just walks around doing whatever you need it to do for at least an hour in a lot of cases. Okay, so there's that. There are your spells. Again, if somebody else plays this, they can certainly go in and change the spells that they want. They can change any of the abilities. They can do whatever they want with them. So now then that we are here, we are in this area. This is where you would start talking about your biography, you know, what your character does and all of that. It's really weird because they don't have an area for like religion or anything like that, which is a bit odd, especially whenever you have things that definitely have this. Oh hey. Okay, so I need to fix that since I've already picked insight. Let's pick medicine. Medicine and history. So do we have all of them? We literally have all of our skills for wizard. We have proficiency in everything that the wizard is possibly capable of at first level. Arcana, yes. History, yes. Insight, yes. Investigation, yes. Medicine, yes. And religion, yes. Okay. Dang. Apply changes. And Lyra is built. Woo! Yay! Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope it helped you out, especially if you're going to be playing with us tomorrow and Friday. And for those of you that aren't going to be playing, come and watch it. It'll be very exciting. We're going to be playing Ghosts of Saltmarsh. It's just a one-shot, and if we decide to continue, what I'll go ahead and do is we will have a kind of a soft reset thing, maybe, where we take characters all the way through the Ghosts of Saltmarsh, or if people really want, what I'll do is I'll create our own little campaign for Legendary Legion. Hooray. Alright guys, I will talk to you guys tomorrow if we're playing. And for those of you that are not playing with us, come and watch it. And I will see you guys in the next video. This is Colin the Conqueror, signing off.